And when he taught English, he would always teach a story, The Devil and Daniel Webster. I don't know if you've ever read that story yet. And he was convinced that he wanted the children to know all about Daniel Webster. And they wondered if he was as famous as Jay-Z. And so if Michael taught them, they knew the story. So we thought that maybe in years to come, people might tell a story about Mr. Williams too. So it's a story they tell in the border country where the King's Own meets the Willard. Yes, Mr. Williams is retired, or at least we don't know where he is. But every time there's a fire alarm up around to disco, they say you can hear his rolling voice in the hollows of the hills. And they say that if you go to his room and call out loud and clear, Mr. Williams, Mr. Williams, the ground will begin to shiver and the windows begin to shake. And after a while, you'll hear a deep voice saying, "Son, what the hell you think you're doing?" And you better say, "You're doing just as you're told, or else he's liable to be right out of the ground." At least that's what I was told when I was youngster. You see, for a while, he was the biggest man in the school. Oh, he never got to be principal, but he was the biggest man. And there were thousands that trusted him right alongside God Almighty. And they used to tell stories about him, the things that belonged to him, just like the stories of patriarchs and such. They said that when he got up to teach, green and gold smoke came right out of the heating ducts. And once he reprimanded a student, made him go straight into the ground. And when he walked the halls with his big rake, the mice began to scatter and leap right into his pockets, for they knew there was no use trying to get into a fight against him. And when he told a story, he could turn on the harps of the blessed and the shaking of the earth underground. That's the kind of man he was. And his big room up 202 pod was suitable to him. The empty Frito bag spilled right out of the waste paper basket. The ungraded papers were stacked clear to the ceiling. And the memorabilia on his walls was enough to make a museum curator green with envy. But he was no 9 to 3 teacher, he. No, he'd be there on Saturdays chatting up the footballers and talking about their children. And made a lot of money too, some of which he gave to the PTA. A man with a mouth like a mastiff, a brow like a mountain, and eyes like burning anthracite. That was Mr. Williams in his prime. But the hardest kid he ever taught never ended up needing a yearbook. Or he taught the devil. Nip and tuck and no holds barred. And by golly, he graduated him too. At least that's the way I heard it told.
Literally just did the entire first chapter of the book. You did.
Sort of. Virtuoso. Okay, so we got to start. Go ahead.
So some of you know that Michael, at various times in the last 20 or so years, has talked about the possibility of, in retirement, moving back to his ancestral homelands of West Virginia.
Ding, 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 ding.
But after all these years in the kind of white wine sipping and free eating lands west of the Mississippi, after all this time, we're afraid he might not fit in exactly were he to go back. So we thought it would just be a kindly thing to do to give him some tools that might help him fit in back in West Virginia.
The sun can be mighty hot up in the holler, so this ought to help him there.
A man could develop a power for thirst, running from the reveners and all, so he'll need a little refreshment.
You know, Michael, that teachers learn quickly how to make their point by saying that research shows that. So, whether it's true or not. So, a genealogical study has found that it's best if you can refer to the elder at the table as Uncle Dad and have a pipe. I don't know what's going to go in this pipe, but we're going to give you this pipe so you can play that role there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this is just the final straw.
I'm feeling right at home now.
So keep as much of this on as you want. So in writing the final song, there was a huge list of things after his lengthy tenure about things we wanted to put in, and we weren't able to fit everything in. I mean, there was like, how can a guy who on a teacher's salary and a wife who wasn't working afford 2 houses? And then there was this thing about, well, he does collect extra thousands of dollars each week during parking and the 2 houses. And I mean, the IRS is looking into it. We didn't put that in the song. And there's something about yellow fever. I didn't understand what that was. That didn't make it into the song.
That's good.
Thank you. Anything else we tried to put in there?
Oh, thousands of things.
1,000 things, but we had to narrow it down a little bit. We'd be here all night, so we did come up with the song that you're about to.
And if anybody could share and we'll give a copy to Mr. Williams, he can follow along because that might be.
He can't read.
And we're hoping people know this song. So, Mr. Williams, we thought we'd just do a little day in the life of Michael.
Day in the life.
Sons of peace out of bed, time to get the youngins fed. Folgers and day old Chris, that bad knee's giving him the fits. Pulls on those shorts and the yellow coat, grabs Nancy by the throat. He says, wine as fine can be, but he's king of the road. Meets Jesse on the way, off to teach another day. Gets school at just 1/2 past. He don't know if he can last. Goes through old emails he can read. Stacks of papers and CDs. But when that first bell rings, baby, he's king of the room. He knows every favorite uncle from Kalamazoo. He's got a story out of 1 out of mile, and he's had to tell you if you'll sit here a while. Now he's at the door with a gap tooth high, white shirt and a goofy tie. Peels off that same handshake, tells them he'll beat him with a rake, and then he'll sit down and listen while through that old paper pile. But when he starts up talking, he's king of the school. Parking cars since they drove Model Ts. Played a lot of ball till he wore out his knees. Did the women's breakfast in that old Southern style. Ran the 8th grade fundraisers and made him a pile. But now, old fogies we have found always seem to stick around, way past their sell-by date. It's after 4 and getting